it's me, Jess. I'm here to share with you the very sad grouping of books that I hope to read for Misery May. Misery May is a readathon created by Gemma at Gemma Books and Scott at Gunpowder Fiction and Plot. I participated last year. I will leave my video linked below for my picks for Misery May last year. Last year, Misery May was themed around Hardy novels, and this year it's not. Instead, Gemma and Scott have created a bingo card of prompts for this readathon, and there is a group read also for this readathon. The main idea, though, is to make yourself as miserable as possible. I have kind of maybe even an obsession with books that make me sad. Nothing gives me more despair than this readathon. I'm really looking forward to crying my eyes out and eating too much chocolate and trying not to burn my house down and probably working out way too much than I should. Those are all things that are probably going to happen in May. That being said, let's get to the books that are going to bring on this series of traumatic responses on my part. I'm not going to be reading something for each of the prompts for Misery May. Most of them I will, but a couple of them I really had trouble finding books that I wanted to read, so I've skipped over them. That would be, for example, the first prompt, which is Animal, which I didn't really find any books on my bookshelves that fit the prompt, and I have a really hard time reading about animals. Being an animal lover, it's very difficult for me to read about animals that, I guess, animals that get hurt, anything like that. It just puts me in such a bad mental state that I don't think it would be healthy. Like, there's a point where it's just unhealthy to be in that low of a mental state, and I feel like Animal hits that weak spot for me. The next one is a host pick. So I'll leave Gemma and Scott's videos where they make recommendations of miserable books for one another, where they try to recommend books to make one another cry. I was really happy to see Scott add Germinal to his list for Gemma, because Germinal was on my list of the 10 classics that I wanted to read this year. So it's perfect. I'm going to read it for Misery May. I think it's going to be deeply miserable. First of all, it's Zola, and so Zola is very dark anyway. This book is very interesting because this is a sort of a sociological artifact now, because it depicts this grim, what's described as a grim struggle between capital and labor in a coal field in northern France. Oh, it's also a translation, so it would fit two prompts because there's also a translation prompt, so it could also be my translation. I have another book also chosen for translation that I'll talk about when I get to it. I have a couple of crossovers with the different prompts. It says, Germinal was written by Zola to draw attention once again to the misery prevailing among the poor in France during the Second Empire. I've been wanting to read this for a long time. I read Thérèse Raquin some time ago and thought it was phenomenal, and I talked about that in a video of things that I thought were underrated. I think that was the tag. I'll leave it linked in the description box below. So that's my first choice for Misery May. The next prompt is Illness, and I've decided to put a little spin, I guess, on the idea of illness because I've been wanting to read Notes on an Execution by Danya Kukafka. It just sounds fascinating. It's about a man who is a serial killer. I think it focuses on the lives of the women that he murdered, but he's been sentenced to death and he's awaiting his execution. He wants to be understood. I don't really know too much more about it than that, but it does say on the inside flap, Notes on an Execution presents a chilling portrait of womanhood. It simultaneously unravels the familiar narrative of the American serial killer, interrogating our system of justice and our cultural obsession with crime stories, asking readers to consider the false promise of looking for meaning in the psyches of violent men. So I think this is good for illness. This could probably qualify for another prompt that's on the bingo card, which is feminist, but I have a couple of other options for the feminist picks. As I mentioned before, Zola could qualify as the translated work. There's a translated prompt, but I would really like to try Clarice Lispector. In the past, I've had a viewer at least one viewer comment that had I read Clarice Lispector, because Clarice Lispector has been compared to Franz Kafka, and it's translated from the Portuguese. It has an introduction by Tobin. I don't know very much about her work, but I'm very curious to find out. My book choice is The Hour of the Star. This could also qualify as the feminist choice as well. The Hour of the Star deals with the problems of the rural Northeast versus urban Southwest of Brazil, poverty and the dream of a better life, and of an uneducated woman's struggle to survive in a sexist society. So I'm really looking forward to this. I'm excited about it in the way you would be excited to read something that's going to be depressing. Next prompt on the bingo card is the group read. I am going to participate in the group read. I think it's going to be a discussion on Voxer. I don't have all of the details, but I would encourage you to go and check out Gemma and Scott's channels to find out more details about it. The book that they're reading for the group read is Bodies of Light by Jennifer Down. It's the winner of the Miles Franklin Literary Award in 2022 and was shortlisted for the Stella Prize in 2022 as well. It says, a quiet small town existence, an unexpected Facebook message jolting her back to the past, a history she's reluctant to visit, dark memories and unspoken trauma, warning knocks on bedroom walls, unfathomable loss. Whew, that is going to be, it's going to be something. I'm going to have to get out my tissue boxes. I'm going to have to keep Granola close by so I can cuddle with him to make myself feel better, because I think it's going to be real upsetting. The next prompt is war. And I'm sort of sad to say this, but I still have not gotten to Brotherless Night, which I was hoping to read in April. We're almost at the end of April while I'm filming this, and I haven't gotten to it yet. So that's going to be my pick for the war prompt for Misery May. And I have seen people talking about this, and I've seen one bookstagrammer in particular said she cried her eyes out while reading this book, set in 1981, and it's about 16-year-old Sashi who wants to become a doctor, but over the next decade a vicious civil war tears through her home, and her dream spins off course as she sees her 4 beloved brothers and their friend Kay swept up in the mounting violence. Pretty sure Brotherless Night is going to be brutal. The next prompt is immigrants. And last year, I felt like I really missed out during the Women's Prize reading because I never managed to get my hands on a copy of Wandering Souls by Cecile Pin. And I had heard so many people talking about how good it was and how sad it was. This is going to be heartbreaking. It says, a poetic, heartbreaking, and ultimately triumphant celebration of the human spirit, stunning and unforgettable. The back reads, there are the goodbyes and then the fishing out of the bodies. Everything in between is speculation. I'm already sad. The next 2 prompts are prompts that I could really easily double up on. So I feel like those are my main picks for Misery May. I am going to have some other TBRs for May because I usually participate in a couple of other things, and I'm going to have my book club book, and I'm going to have some other books, so I'll be on with my full May TBR. Shortly, I'll be putting up another video that's not Misery May focused. For the classic prompt, I'm going to double up and use Germinal as my classic book. I have a number of books already chosen that are feminist, so I can certainly double them up, but I also took this out of the library, which I'm really interested to read. It's Killingly by Catherine Buettner, and I think that this would be great for the feminist prompt. It's set in Massachusetts in 1897 at Mount Holyoke College, which it's funny because my mom used to live in that area, so I'm familiar with the area. It's about a girl who went missing. The mystery is revived in this story. Catherine Buettner takes a real-life unsolved mystery and crafts it into an unforgettable historical portrait of academia, family trauma, and the risks faced by women who dared to pursue unconventional paths at the end of the 19th century. I think that it's going to be, might not be devastating, but it could be devastating. So I think it's a possibility that it might be very, very sad and potentially very devastating. So that's my, hopefully I get to it along with everything else choice for Misery May. You will have seen in my little opening montage some other miserable books, which I will list in the description box below. Yes, I'm looking forward to seeing what everyone else is going to be reading. I'm looking forward to the group read. Hopefully you'll join along. All I can say is I hope that it's cathartic. Thanks for watching. Bye for now. Wait, did I already say classic? Oh no, that was the host pick. Okay, and I'm so, I don't want to say thrilled. I'm so, Lola, you're in the way, bud. You're in the way. Hey, Lola! Lola! Lola, come